This video is for a mature audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
My Hooked honeys, and welcome back to Hooked. If you're new here, my name is Leanne, and Hooked is basically where we talk about some true crime stories and do some crochet projects together. And on today's episode, we will be making more of those Cleveland Brown little beanies that I made. I had made 7 for one of my customers, and she loved them so much she ordered 5 more. So I figured I gotta get started. In the meantime, what I have been doing is I got this yarn, and y'all, I love this color so much that I decided to do a bunch of stuff with it. So I did a kid's little face mask with cat ears, not bunny ears, cat ears. Then I have a kid's beanie, and I was thinking about maybe putting a little pom-pom on the top of that as well, but isn't it so cute? And then I have the adult face mask, and then I also am working on the adult beanie. So I figure I'll do a couple of those, maybe put them on Etsy if y'all feeling them, maybe. But today we're gonna go ahead and just do some Cleveland Brown ones because I need to get started on them because I gotta make 5. Because that's my life. Also, on today's episode, we will be talking about the death of Jessie Marie Davis. So we are gonna go ahead and light our crochet candle and get into this story. We are going to start with a magic ring. And chain 1 and then do 11 double crochet. And of course, you know I love me a stitch marker. And go ahead and put the stitch marker in your very first stitch so you can keep track. And then we're going to do 10 more to make that 11. Closed. And then you're gonna go ahead and slip stitch where your stitch marker is. And that is row 1. So for the second row, you'll just chain 1 and then do 2 double crochet in each stitch. Make sure to replace your stitch marker too. On June 15th of 2007, Jessie's mother reported her missing after she found her 2-year-old grandson at home by himself. There was bleach spilled on the floor, and the house basically just looked like there was a struggle. 2-year-old Blake, who was Jessie's son, was saying some very heartbreaking things like mommy broke the table and mommy's in the rug, but no one really, like, they heard it, but I feel like it wasn't really, you know, too pressed on or whatever. They didn't really have him say too much or whatever. So add that Jessie was near term in her pregnancy with her daughter. She was going to be having her baby in a couple of months, like less than that. Jessie disappeared from Lake Township in Stark County, Ohio. And of course, there was a search done, which included thousands of volunteers. And on June 23rd, Jessie's body was recovered in a wooded area next to Summit County in Hampton Hills Metro Park. This is where we are at the end of row 2. For row 3, we're going to do 2 double crochet in 1 stitch and then 1 double crochet in the next, and we're just going to repeat that all the way into the end. At the funeral for Jessie and her daughter was a single casket, and it was held June 30th at the House of the Lord. There were almost 750 people that attended this service, and it also streamed on local news stations online. Bobby Lee Cutts Jr., who was an officer in the Canton, Ohio Police Department, also led the search that discovered Jessie's body. But he knew more to this story than he was leading on. He knew a lot more. And what's crazy is he was never a suspect, never even a person of interest. Like, he flew under the radar. Like, well, I mean, he was an officer, so that was probably easy for him to do that. Now, how did Bobby even know Jesse, right? What was their relationship? Get this, y'all. He was her boyfriend. Yep. He was her boyfriend. He was married at the time, but he and his wife were separated. Just throw that out there. He was also the father of her unborn daughter, right? Like, full circle. What? And nobody knew. Like, how did nobody know this information at all whatsoever? How was he even able to work on this case? How was he not a person of interest? It's always the boyfriend did it. And in this case, the boyfriend did it. What the world? So apparently they had some big argument at Jesse's home, and he elbowed her in her throat, which caused her to pass out. He claims he tried to resuscitate her, but failed, and he couldn't call 911 because there was no phone in the home, and he couldn't turn on her cell phone. That sounds like bullshit to me if I ain't never heard it before. Bobby's trial began on the 4th of February in 2008, and by the 11th, he stood and described the death of Jesse. He said he struggled with her in her house and struck her in her throat with his elbow. And like I said, he tried to resuscitate her after she became unconscious, but that didn't work. And the whole cell phone situation, which again is bullshit. You can turn on a phone. Like, there's no way that you can't turn on the phone unless it was dead. You can turn on a phone. You can't, like, you would have been better off just saying that the phone was dead instead of saying that you just couldn't turn it on. That's stupid. On February 15th, Bobby was convicted of the murder of Jesse and the aggravated murder of their unborn daughter. He was also found guilty of other charges, including aggravated burglary, gross abuse of a corpse, child endangering. Mind you, Jesse's 2-year-old son was there when this happened. In the end, Bobby Cutts Jr. was sentenced on February 27th of 2008 to life in prison without the eligibility of parole until 55 years, which honestly, that's not long enough for me. He should have got the chair in my eyes, but who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Serve and protect, I guess. Whatever. Well, my hooked honeys, that was the tragic death of Jessie Davis and the asshole that took her life. And it's just so crazy to me that this man was even able to do that to the mother of his own unborn child, who was soon about to deliver his daughter. What? How? How do you do that? How can you do that? What? Make sure you follow me on Instagram at HookedWTrueCrime. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe because I'm here for you on Wednesdays. Love y'all. See you in about 2 weeks. Bye.